indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
We're going to move directly to the audit report. Have that before us. We each have a copy.
All right, my name is Lawrence Johnson. I work for Stokes Vista. We're a CPA firm in Rochester. We've done your audit for a number of years, and I'm not going to go through every point and every note in these financial statements. I'm just going to kind of do a summary of it. Page 1, we'll start there with our independent auditor's report, and it essentially says that we provide an audit opinion on these financial statements that they're fairly presented. They are fairly presented in accordance with regulatory basis statements, which is an acceptable financial statement presentation by the state of New York. Management's responsibility is to prepare and provide a fair presentation of the statements. The auditor's responsibility is to give an opinion on those statements. That's what we have. Our opinion is what we traditionally call in accounting and auditing world a clean opinion, which means it's unmodified, there's no problem with the opinion. Moving to page 4, we have what we call a balance sheet. And we'll start with the general fund. Under the general fund, $186,000 in cash. In restricted cash, almost $1.6 million. In prepaids, about $31,000. That's made up of ERS and insurance that straddles the fiscal year end, or the calendar year end. And then we have investments, the LOSAP program, $1.1 million. So our total assets under the general fund, $2.9 million. We move down to the liabilities. We have the codes liability. That's money that's the district has that's really part of the codes. It's we'll have a note later on that. It's a high school program locally, $87,000. Move down to the fund balance portion. We have the non-spendable. That's the prepaid expenses above. That's money that's already been spent. You can't spend it again. That's why it's called non-spendable. We have restricted reserves, $1.5 million. And then we have the LOSAP program, $1,112,000. Going to be unassigned, which is available for anything. You can use that, for spending, $185,000. So your total fund balance was $2.8 million. Move over to the fixed account groups. We have 2 account groups, fixed assets, $8.3 million. This is just based on the cost of what your equipment and your buildings, land would cost. Under long-term debt, we have general amounts provided for under the general long-term debt, $1.1 million. And excuse me, this number comes directly from GASB 68, as well as deferred outflows of resources. We move down into the liabilities. This becomes a little more meaningful. We have serial bond debt at the end of the year, $1,018,000, and then we have compensated absences, almost $63,000, and then we have the net pension liability, $465, and that actually is what the state says your liability is for current. We move to page 5. This is a profit and loss statement. We have total revenues of $1.572 million. The majority of that is the property tax levy, which is $1,412,000. We have a few other things in this year in terms of the service award program that we're required to present. Now you have to present everything regarding the service award program in the general fund. In years past, several years ago, you could do that as its own fund. Now you need to report that in the general fund per the state controller's office. So So you'll see that there was interest and earnings for the service program of $77,000. Then the local pension contribution about $25,000. You sold a 1999 Aero platform truck for about $49,000, and you have proceeds from other sales of about $3,000 for a boat and a motor. Under expenditures were almost $1.5 million. We have personnel expenditures, $178,000. This is all in the general fund. We have the equipment and capital outlay, $662,000. Contractual expenditures, $385,000. And under employee benefits, we have different insurances, and then debt principal as well, and interest on the bonds. So at the end of the year, your revenues over expenditures are about $75,000 for the general fund. Move over to the capital fund, you'll see that there's under equipment and capital outlay, $763,000. That was for the truck purchase with the bond. And then we have the serial bond issuance down below as an income under the capital fund of the same amount of money. We move to page 6. These are the financial statement notes. They just give you a little more information on what was just presented. The base of accounting, there's no here on the first page, is that it's in compliance with the state of New York. State mandated uniform system of accounts for fire districts. If we move to page 8, I'm not going to hit every paragraph here, but I'm just going to hit highlights. We have, under number 2, we have account groups. This year we show the fixed assets as an account group, which I presented earlier, and long-term debt account group. We move to page 10. In the middle of the page, we have a note on fixed assets, and any fixed asset has $5,000 or greater, we capitalize. Now, we're not required to depreciate it for New York State, so we don't do that. But we do. This note just say that if anything is over $5,000, we would capitalize and include it in the fixed asset account grouping. Moving to page.
So all the fixed assets, being buildings and like that.
Yeah,
it's based on the cost when we bought.
Right, it's based on the cost. Now, those values they could be worth more. I mean, if you bought land, let's say 50 years ago for $200,000, that land today could be worth $500,000. But we're constricted under accounting principles to go based on the cost. And we have a note later on here that will describe the different categories of fixed assets. So on page 12, at the very top, we have the investments that are part of the LoSAP program. $1,112,000. We have the classifications. We have cash and money market of $18,000. We have equities, about $587,000. We have fixed income assets, which would be bonds and things like that, about $506,000. Note 4 is the changes in fixed assets. So you'll see that land $145,000. So yeah, that land probably today is probably worth much more than that, but we're constrained under accounting principles to report as such. We show building improvements and machinery and equipment. So at the end of the year, about $8 million, $8.2 million worth of assets. Note 5, long-term debt. We have some serial bonds. At the end of the year, about $1,018,000. We have the net pension liability at the end of the year, $465,000. Now you'll see at the beginning of the year it was $132,000. And the question may come up: why did that change so much? Why did it decrease? Well, during that year, the stock market did much better, and New York State's investments did better, reduce your liability. Accrued compensation at the end of the year, $62,000. So your total debt under the governmental or under the general long-term debt, $1,081,000. The bottom portion, the bottom couple paragraphs regarding the serial bonds. At the end of the year, you had zero bonds for financing a new fire truck, $255,000. And for a new fire truck, another new fire truck, about $763,000. So it adds up to the $1,018,000. Your interest rates are pretty favorable there. They're all under 3%. That's a pretty good rate. So it's nice to be able to lock that in. On page 13, we have a chart that displays the debt service over the next until the end of the amortization period. So we present the first 5 years each year individually with the principal and interest, and after that we accumulate 5-year periods. Moving to down to note 6, you have 4 different reserves, and the reserve funds at the end of the year have $1.5 million. It's nice to have reserve funds. It does, it's kind of like a savings feature in that you have money available to go ahead and do projects. You're not required, to necessarily go for sewer bonds and bands, which which can cost you more money in the long run. So it's nice to have some money sitting in the bank, for future projects and equipment purchases. Page 14 through 17 is regarding the retirement. I'm not going to get into that. There's a lot of verbiage in that. If we move to page, let's see here, page 18, we discussed the Fire Service Award Program, and we go through that. That's a defined benefit program. Defined contribution program, sorry. So the money that's put in is what's available. Moving to page 20, we have an asset and liabilities of the program, and then also the receipts and disbursements for the year. Moving to page 22, that's the budget summary. It's the budget for 2021 versus the actual spending for 2021. So the biggest item here is the property taxes. That was exactly what you budgeted for, because you knew what that would be. We mentioned earlier there are a few things that make the actual higher, make the higher than the budget due to the LoSAP program, and we were required to present that here. But you have favorable budget variances in every column except for interest and earnings, which was $126. Under the expenditures, you spent a little bit more in your budget, but the reason that is underneath the equipment and capital outlay, you spend a lot from your reserves. If you take the reserve spending out of that piece, you're well under your budget. Moving to page 23 and 24, this is a report on internal control from us, and essentially it just says that we didn't find any material weaknesses that we are concerned with. There could be, maybe a deficiency here or there, but nothing that transpired into a material issue. Are there any questions on the financial statement? We don't give a recommendation on, as to operations unless we find something that may be deficient. You might want to consider maybe increasing your unassigned fund balance. I think at the end of the year it was under $150,000, and that's fairly modest. You could probably go a little higher than that and not have any problems. I know the state sometimes, if they have an audit, they'll sometimes pick at that, but $150,000 is not nowhere near what you could have without even being questioned. And the money that's in your reserves, as long as you've got a plan in place of what you're going to do with the reserves, they'll have no issue with that as well. So, but you might want to consider increasing the unassigned.
I spoke to an auditor at the recent Fire District's annual meeting and about exactly that. And he felt that we should increase that.
Yeah. Usually they say somewhere 15-20%. You might want to, you could prepare a, I'm not sure, do you have a fund balance policy, honestly?
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to amend that.
Yeah, you could address that, and, you know, that's something you might want to think about. You know, in your budget, for this year, your budget was about 1.4 million. So if you had, you know, 20% of that would be about $280,000. And as long as you have a fund balance policy, and you can kind of explain why, you know, kind of why you have that dollar amount, they shouldn't question it, you know. But I think 138,000 for unassigned is probably a little low, you know.
He did say that a good rule of thumb that they use is 3 to 4 months operating
Right.
capital in case we run into issues that, you know, before we can get money out of reserves or from another
Right.
source, to have 3 months or 4 months of operating capital.
Yeah, so you're maybe looking at 20-25%, maybe something like that, of your budget. And, yeah, that's fine. I think as long as you have it documented, you know, like a fund balance policy that's up to date, and you're within those constraints, you'll be fine.
Anybody else have any comments, questions? Okay, I guess. So you're welcome to stay, or you're welcome to leave.
Yeah, if you have any questions, you know, you can let me know, and we certainly appreciate your business. Both did a great job. Appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy, I think we probably need to add that to the agenda, maybe under new or old business, to approve the report.
Do you want to just do that now?
What?
Can you just do it now, or do you want to do it under new business?
Good.
Or
Okay.
I can add it, just.
Somebody,
I'll make the motion to approve the audit report.
I'll second.
Mike Chura seconds.
I just don't want
Any
to do
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. So that's done. Okay.
Will you be placing that up on the website as a public document discussed and brought forward at the meeting?
I don't know, but I don't know why not.
Sure, we can get it in electronic format. Can we get it in a PDF so we can upload it?
I don't know. I'd have to ask
I'm
him.
sure we can.
Okay. So we have the minutes of the April 18th meeting. A motion for approval. Mike Chura, Jeremy Patterson, seconds. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. So Bill has stepped out with the auditor for a few minutes, so let's go on to correspondence.
The counselor was received and distributed, the fire district affairs was received and distributed, and the amended bylaws were submitted by the fire department bylaws committee for approval.
Thank you. Chief's report.
All right, the 6 lengths of hose family came in. We do have a few more that failed on us at the drill, so we're gonna see how many fail at the hose testing, and we have to get a few more lengths, but the 6 that we ordered did come in, so we'll get that loaded up. The new mannequin for the tower has arrived, and portable radios for truck 2 have been ordered. Still no ship date on those, but hopefully we get those relatively soon. So we are still waiting on, obviously, some stuff for the truck. Some of the mounting brackets come in, and they're gonna start working on installing those. course, we're still waiting on some punch list stuff from Vandermold to get taken care of. The MDT and the mobile radio have been installed. The MDT has a new version of the CAD software installed, which all the rest of our apparatus should have been done by 911 a long time ago, but the guy never told me that it was supposed to be done, and he never came out to do it. The new guy that took over that part of it is much more attentive, and he will be here Wednesday morning to update the rest of the MDTs with the new software. It is a little bit different, but I will do a little in-service training with that, so it's a little bit easier. I've been using it for quite a while at work, so it's not bad. Life went pretty well. I think Chief Corker may expand on that a little bit, but we had a lot of people through, and there's only a few people that still need to complete it, and we'll get that taken care of. As far as our COVID response and all that, we're still reminding our members to wear PPE on EMS calls, masks, and stuff like that. We still can administer COVID tests, so if anybody does need a test, just get a hold of me, and I can. You know, if it's not me that does it, I can get one of the other people that are going to help me out with that. They can do it. All our restrictions are still lifted. I just have that one exception still in there about wearing masks and food service gloves when handling any food. But keep in mind that this is a fluid policy and can change at any minute. Everybody's still doing really well with the EMS chart software. A lot of the ones I'm seeing come through are a little no errors, so that's good. Always encourage members to put a duty crew in service or set up an Engine 91 date. You know, we can host and our members can participate if hosted by another Town of Lysander department. The only thing that we can't do is go right in like Town of Salina or, you know, Taunton does it or out that way. But anything in, you know, one of the codes departments that host it, our members can certainly ride, or we can put one in service ourselves. If anybody has any questions, they can contact me. Of course, we always try to remember everybody to use bricks when responding. It helps let us know when people are coming, and you know, engine or squad or something, wait a couple extra seconds for somebody else to get there. You know, they'll know that and they can wait. Of course, thank you for your continued support. Chief Massaro can't be here tonight, but I do have one thing that I know that would be on his agenda. I did get an email from, well, Bill got an email from Al Yeager from the town in regard to the Drake's Landing apartments. They're in the final stage of that, so they just wanted to make sure that we were still good with our stuff. There's no changes for the stuff that we asked for, with the exception of that one building that we asked to be rotated and they didn't do it. But everything else that we asked for, you know, lowering the curbs and stuff like that. There's going to be some curbing in some areas, but it's not going to affect our, you know, turn radius. It's mainly like in the front of parking spots, so a car can't go into the grass or a building. But other than that, you know, I was fine with everything that, you know, they agreed to. There's going to be a Knox box in every building still, so that's good. So we don't have to go to one spot and park the keys to another. They'll all be right there. Our stuff for Bill, I know he's still working on pre-plans. I did get the findings for Morris Corners for the new Amazon facility, because we are on the box for an engine for that. I'm going to make 2 more copies of that book, put in engine 11 and engine 21, because that's what's going to go get called. So I want to make sure that binders in there. Each chief will have one. Very well put together and easy to follow. So once I get those made, you know, I'll provide the members to take, you know, pull it out and take a look at it. Did you have anything else? Did you think of anything else from Chief Massaro?
No, big one was that email exchange.
Right. I'm all set.
Any questions for Chief Speech or Well, Corcoran.
Good evening. Let's see, take a half step back, as the chief mentioned, we've done very well with the task-oriented air consumption mandatory drills. Currently, we've run 4 sessions, 2 evenings, 2 Saturdays, two evenings, 2 Saturdays, and had great turnout, cooperation from the members. We have 8 people outstanding that have not yet done their coax. The chief and I had a conversation about how to kind of work through that. You may have seen the email we're going to do on the 28th. One last session, we thought we'd get the email out to those individuals that still have outstanding, not the whole department, need to complete that mandatory training. So after the 28th, we'll review the list and then determine how to go forward. If we do have any members that have special circumstances, the chief and I have already talked about that. We'll address those as they come up. So that's kind of where we're at with the TOAC. As I said, members really were very cooperative about getting them done. This month we're working through, or we've scheduled our personal rescue equipment training, which is again a required training for all of our annual required training for all of our interior members. We're doing 2 Thursday evening sessions, and then again on the 28th, a Saturday session for those folks that may not be available on the 19th or 26th. Then after that, again, Chief and I will sit down, reassess, and proceed from there. As I mentioned last commissioners meeting, and I gave a proposal for what I call the 4-car extrication over at Station 2. If you've driven by or noticed, there's 1 car parked there. I've been in conversations with Tim Nobles. They've been really busy and short-handed over there, so he apologized profusely, but he's working on getting us more cars. He's fairly confident he can get us 4. He's running into the same thing everybody else is. All of a sudden, junk cars are not that available. So, but he is taking care of us in the past and will this time. And I talked to him about billing and all of that, and we'll work through that. So that's ongoing. That's ongoing. Also, I got a couple other things I'll say in the works. Our EVOC training will be coming up. Again, that's a quasi mandatory training. I've been in conversation with the chief how we're going to schedule that and how we're going to handle that. All right. And then just working, kind of forecasting the rest of the year and looking at topics and that sort of thing. Been putting out to the members any other training opportunities. New York State Association of Fire Chiefs is doing a live fire, the flashover training at Lafayette Fire Department, the 14th and 15th. I've been communicating that out to the members. We had scheduled the townwide training, had scheduled an extrication training. That got, I'll say, postponed or canceled due to some scheduling conflicts or scheduling issues. And I've been in conversation with Commissioner Commissioner with Kit concerning the upcoming live fire at the Oswego County Emergency Response Training site up there to get as much information out to our people early enough that our people can schedule and we can get people that might be able to participate. So as training opportunities come up, I'm trying to communicate it out to our members and encourage them to do other trainings. We have had, Chief didn't mention, but I've been hearing throughout the department, we have a number of different members taking a number of different state courses, which is very encouraging. Really good stuff, so that's good to see. Any questions for me?
Okay, so we'll go back to the treasurer's report.
Okay, we're ready. All right, codes is the single sheet, front and back. The top is the assets for codes. The bottom of the front sheet is there's 1 voucher for codes. And the back is the checking and savings account. should do that first. We have 2 overtime vouchers, 1 codes, 7 credit card vouchers to sign, and 57 district vouchers. Okay, on the district one. Front page, the top are the assets. 2.9 million. At the bottom of tonight's vouchers total, 85,000, almost 86. Page 2 and 3 is the previous year comparison. 4 and 5 is the budget versus the actual current budget. 6 and 7 are the bank account pages. And page 8 is the referendums. Up at the top, I made a note that on April 18th, we're closing out this referendum number 2, but I put it in there with subtracting out the 2 heated food tables. So we were left with $1,100, but that's closed out. Next month, that won't be there. The second part is still there, $175,000 for the roof repair and parking lot. We've only spent $11,000 of that, $10,000. And at the bottom, these are things you brought up, you made motions to. You wanted $3,000 for the station board. We have $568 left, and you said that you were still going to spend that on the station board, right? Okay. We still have $10,000 earmarked supposedly for the warranty on the Sutton. That's still going to stay there? Yes? Okay. And then there was a change from 3G to 4G on the building, coming from the building and grounds of $2,000, and we spent $564. So we've got $1,400 left, and that's not a referendum now. That's just
But is that,
That's done.
that's done?
so I can cancel that for next. Okay. And on the next page, 9, the service awards. We took another hit there, $50,000 loss on that. And then I put a note on the bottom, 16 participants are taking their service award this year for a total of $144,090.10. I did hand out to the commissioners a confidential page showing you who's taking the money for this year. There are 8 rollovers and 8 cash payments. The district owes $45,600 to the fund for the 2021 participants that made their points. Less forfeitures, those that have gone past the 5 years and never came back, they lose because they didn't have their money in, or they didn't participate for 3 years, which is vested. We give them 5 years to come back. If they don't, that money now goes, we can take it off of what we owe. So the district owes $34,903.94 to pay for 2021 points earned. Okay. You'll see a voucher in there tonight for that amount, because that'll be paid. And 10, 11, and 12 are the vouchers for tonight. Those that wanted to move their money from either aggressive to conservative or conservative to aggressive, that happens after the payouts. So that we don't have to move their money now and then try to figure out, oh, wait, we gotta. So that happens after we take the money out to pay the people, then we move those that want their money moved, then it gets moved.
And if they don't tell you?
We move it At 50, they're given a choice to move it to a conservative or not. If we don't hear from them, the district policy is to move them to conservative the last 5 years. But so far, we've
I
heard.
think we heard back from everybody.
What's that?
I think we actually heard back from everybody.
Yeah. Yep. The service award. And the audit looks good. I think we were within $1 from our unassigned balance. What they came up with on their unassigned fund balance, that was $1 difference from what I did on the AUD. But the rest of it is
$1?
$1. And that's usually rounding off. But they did move because they're saying now the codes money has to go in there. Remember, we went through this for some years. One auditor took it out, one put it in, one took it out, and now the state says it goes in. Same with the service award. It was so much cleaner when it was separate. I can show, here's the codes, here's the service. Now it all goes into the one fund. So most of his changes were getting all that into our general fund, I guess you'd call it. So that's why you'll see those numbers that are $1 million off. What I say is in the fund, in our general fund, and what they say. It's not, and the fixed assets, they put in there. Normally that's a separate thing. Okay, and Jeremy, you win the bank statements, Jeremy. I think that's all I got.
Okay, does anybody have questions for treasurer? None? Someone make the motion to approve the treasurer's report. Mike Turra, second by Jeremy. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We need a motion to approve payment of the vouchers after audit. Jeremy makes that motion. Malone seconds. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, so now we can jump back. Committee reports, communications, Mike, report. Building and facilities, Mike Churro.
Nothing.
No report?
Nope.
Okay. New truck committee, Jeremy or Mike, or both?
I just said a meeting, so.
Okay. I was gonna say, the truck to Vandermolen was here for half a day and punched out quite a few. Still
Yeah.
not done, but.
Couple more left.
Motion.
Yep.
So Jerry's happier. They spent some time with Jerry and got some stuff done, so that's a good one.
Is there a plan to put the chief's vehicle out to bid again?
I think we can if we've gotten,
We need to talk about it.
okay,
A lot of it's gonna depend on timing, and we may need to look at that spec.
okay.
I talked to my guy, but I don't know how informative. We need to do a little research.
Is that something we can do between now and the next meeting, or do we?
Possibly, yeah.
So the spec can go on out without another vote or anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the permissive referendum, I think, is done this week. But once we sit down and talk, we could put it out again,
Okay.
possibly, depending on what we find out. So it's still,
Then we can meet with Amy and,
but yeah, we might.
Last under public safety, at the last meeting, we talked about at least temporarily moving to a meeting every other month instead of every month. So that would make the next meeting June 21st here at 7 p.m. We did complete the fire prevention program at Eldon on May 10th. Still waiting to hear back from Palmer School to schedule that program. And June 4th is the townwide training at the Oswego County Training Facility, and we're waiting for further information on that. Budget and finance. We have a timetable for the 2023 budget. I think in the whole thing here, I changed everything to 2022, except the title, 2023 budget preparation. And I see down at the bottom, last date to approve is November 3rd, 2022.
And the deadline to file with the
Yeah, 2022. I'll revise that, but we'll send that off to the chiefs and to the executive board, so they'll have that information. IT committee, Jeremy.
The only update I got is the station boards. They finally have our draft done. There's only 2 outstanding issues we owe them, and we're working on that this week. Once that's done, they're going to schedule a call with us to just review the new design and sign off on it. So they had an issue with their development staff. Obviously, everybody's got staffing issues, so it took a lot longer than we thought, but they're done now.
Recruitment retention.
Barb asked last month for financials on the welcome kits. So, hang on. The program started with Vince Kearney back in 2018. We have spent $3,915 on extinguishers, the bags, flashlights, pens, printing, the packets, basically. So a couple things. The kits include a welcome pamphlet from us, which explains the different member levels of membership. Also includes some verbiage on making sure your address is visible from the street. We have a pamphlet on how to use the fire extinguisher using the PAS system. There's some pens and stuff with the Belgium logo on it. And then the fire extinguisher itself, those are only given out if somebody's there. We don't leave them on the door. So if nobody's home, we leave a sorry we missed you with the rest of the packet, but no fire extinguisher. Purpose of the program, when Chief Kearney and then Chief Speech kind of designed this, recruitment is definitely one of them. It's not the only purpose. We talked last month. It's fire prevention training. We got the fire extinguishers. We have the PAS pamphlets that are included in there. And the other big one we were hoping to get from this was name recognition. We have an identity crisis in Belgium where many people think, our residents at least think that Baldwinsville Fire Department is their fire department simply because they live in Baldwinsville. It stands to reason. That would be your fire department. So this kind of gets us out there, gets the name recognized, and I think from a benefit standpoint, other than recruitment and retention, I think we've seen the benefits of that on the fund drive, because our fund drive revenues have gone up significantly over the last 5 years. Some of that's gone from door-to-door to direct mail, but also because I think they see the name more. People know Belgium Cold Springs more, around the community more. And some other stats, since we started in 2018, we've had 21 new memberships apply, 10 active, 8 support, 3 youth.
All from that program?
since that program was
All
initiated.
from that program.
How do
Those,
you-
No, we don't
prove-
track where they come from,
Yeah, I have no idea.
well, you would know based on who joined,
not necessarily.
No,
yes,
not
because that would be
necessary.
part of your,
Anyway,
a
Barb,
list of people. that
Barb.
you had.
please. 21 new members applied, 10 active, 8 support, 3 youth since the program was initiated. And fundraising activities have gone up significantly since the program was initiated.
Joe, did you have a comment?
Just an anecdotal story, I guess you might say. I'm kind of notorious or infamous in my neighborhood because I have the chief's vehicle in the driveway. So people, and Radisson's a very friendly community. If you're out front, people say hello and that sort of thing. At any rate, gentleman was walking by the house one day. I was out doing something outside and he stopped. He came over and he saw the chief's vehicle and he said, oh, he says, you're with the fire department. I said, yeah, Belgium Cold Springs Fire Department. He says, oh, you're a chief? I said, I said, I'm a chief with the fire department. He says, oh, okay. He says, where is that? And I said, actually, Radisson is part of the Belgium Cold Springs Fire District. It's served by the Belgium Cold Springs Fire Department. Oh, I thought we were in Baldwinsville's fire department area. I said, no. I said, that's now explained how that was, northwest, etc. But again, there is a little bit of, as Jeremy pointed out, because we don't have a mailing address, people often think of their mailing address as their fire department.
Yeah,
Just
most
all-
times that's correct. Right?
Yeah, and he said he'd walked by the house a number of times, seeing the vehicle there, and I just happened to be standing out front doing something, and he stopped and chatted, so. That name recognition, I think, especially new people coming into the area, I think probably sets a good tone.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
That's it, Jeremy. Personnel, Mike and I, we do not have a report. Caretaker leader report, we have the reports in our packets. Caretaker leader and caretaker. Questions for caretaker leader who is here? Any questions? Well, the other caretaker is not here. So maybe if you have any questions about that. Truck maintenance, Jeremy or Mike?
I think the chief's covered most of it, the truck too, and Jerry's got the current stuff going on.
Doing the annual maintenance.
Yep. Talked with Crown on the undercoating and post testing guys. They're both anxious to come, but it'll be in the near future. Everything's scheduled.
Building maintenance, Mike.
Yeah, we got some things done. I want to thank Jerry and John for the corner of the Quartz property. If you look, it's nice and flat. And they did a great. Well, it's flatter and better than what it was. And you'll see the dirt out there, which will be evenly distributed where we need it to even out some of the rough spots, right?
Yeah, I'm well, best as dirt.
And good job with that. Thank you for that. So that's taking care of that. I like the way that looks out there. A little bit of grass seed or whatever comes up there, and it'll be good for mowing. So as for headquarters, after a couple phone calls, I got Dan Dennis's attention for Jerry. He showed up with Jerry on last Monday and went over the roof. He's ordered some rubber boots and some new metal screws, oversized metal screws, I don't know why the galvanized metal screws, some of the galvanized metal screws have rusted. So he's gonna order a box of new metal screws, oversized, with a rubber washer and a silicone washer below that, and do about 30 feet along that one edge, replace the rubber boots, do some caulking. He figures it'll be about a day's worth of work, and between $1,000 and $1,500. And after he gets that all done, I'll ask him for a warranty, as for how long he's gonna warranty that. But other than that, it should, hopefully sometime this week, once he gets the parts in, parts are on order. But we finally got him out there to look at it and give us a quote and get something ordered. Thank you again for that, Jerry.
Okay, anything further?
Those two.
Works. Old business, long-term planning is still planning for long-term planning. Policy review, we have 2 policies. The breach notification policy is brand new. It's one of the required policies by the New York State Comptroller for fire districts. I did my best to put together what we felt would, we used the state website. We also used New York State website and a lot of their terminology. So, any questions? Motion to approve?
You have an issue date of April 18th on that? That this is actually May 16th?
Probably because we hope to have it by last month, so May 16.
And at the bottom also.
Yeah. Got that, Amy? Okay, so Jeremy made motion to approve, and Mike Churro seconds. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The medical leave policy does not change very much from the previous policy, other than the format to get us in sync with the other policies. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Jeremy makes a motion to approve. Mike Churro seconds. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Under new business, the fire department has submitted the bylaws for approval. Mike Rasmus sent an email on May 6th. The approval was done on May 5th. Discussion? Well, I would entertain a motion to approve the proposed Belgium Cold Springs Fire Department bylaws, which were approved by the membership on May 5th, 2022, to the extent that when the bylaws of the fire department conflict with the rules adopted by the Board of Fire Commissioners, the board rules supersede the bylaws and the board rules govern.
I'll second.
So, Jeremy seconds. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Opposed? Carried. So Amy, will you send a letter to the Mike Rasmus and the fire department bylaws were approved? We have an application for youth membership from Tommy Catalino. Yeah, I'm looking at Amy, do you have the paperwork?
Yes, I do. Yeah, he was approved by the department membership. He's, looks like he's 13. Not much else really with that. Just looking to become more active.
He's 13, his dad is a support member, and his mom is an active EMT with the fire department in Woodford. And she's also the department secretary. He plays ball, he's a leader on his team, and he does a lot of, I think he's an honor student, his lowest grade is a 92.
So I'll make the motion.
Motion by Steve, second. Mike Malone, approve his youth membership. Discussion?
No?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Are there any public comments?
I'd just like to say that your medical policy that you just approved, case-by-case basis, means that you're not applying rules to everybody the same. You're just applying whatever rule you want to each person, whatever you feel like, and that's discriminatory. So there's some issues with that policy that I asked you in 2019 to review, write procedures for. You never replied to the email once about what I asked for. Nothing was done, and there are issues with that policy. I sat and read it again, and there are issues with it. It is discriminatory because you are case-by-case basis making decisions on people, but not applying the same rules, again, along every person. So as a public member, that's an issue, because that means one member can have the same accident as the other, and you could apply the rules this way for this one and this one for this one. So that's something that you need to look at very seriously in relationship to that policy.
Oh, we can look into that.
I mean, I asked for it in 2019, nothing was done. So, and on behalf of Lynn Malone, the take-home car policy that she asked about at the last meeting, since she's not able to be here, is that going to come forward sometime soon? On behalf of Lynn.
Hopefully, yes. Okay, so we will be moving to executive session. We're not ready to move into executive session quite yet. We will be signing vouchers. Mike, you have something?
At the start of COVID, we moved this meeting to this building.
Yeah.
Is there any thoughts, or I could make a motion, let's bring it back to headquarters? Why not?
Look at the people you have here. You don't have the room there to have this type of group there.
And not everybody here is here every month.
No, but you have more
And
increasing
about
people.
90% of the people here are from that stations area.
Now it matters where you live.
It's convenient for our members.
Then why wouldn't we do it at the Station 2 classroom? Because that's bigger. Headquarters is quite small, the space.
Constrained, small. You're all still sitting 6 feet apart or 8 feet apart. You haven't even gone on to 3 tables. And
Jerry,
you
why
want to
is
go
it
into
not
that
3
small
tables? She
table?
wants to know.
Or you wanted to go into that small table? Now you want to go into your small condensed table back? You feel comfortable doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. But, you know, you have opened it up now where more people are starting to come. You don't have people crowded in, climbing over each other. And is there a reason for not having it here? Just because some of the attendees or part of the attendees live in that part of the district? It's 2-3 mile difference. And as Janelle said, if you're going to do it, then do it at Station 2's room. Big room. If you feel that you don't want it in this side of the district.
Brought it up, it's up to you guys. I'd make a motion, it's up for you guys for discussion.
We're on General Station
I mean, it's easier to head towards, because that's where all the stuff is. Sit down for another month,
One.
see what happens.
Each one of us
Three.
think about what we want to, how we want to do moving forward, we'll put on the agenda for next month.
Fine.
Kit, I have a question.
Yes, Carol, sorry.
I asked this question last month and didn't really get a clear answer on it. I was wondering, you're proposing to get a new chief's car. And I asked what the intentions were of the old chief's car. Is there any clear, if we're not gonna sell the old chief's car, why are we getting a new chief's car?
I think something will be sold at that point. It
I-
might be,
what's that?
something will be sold. I'm guessing what we would do is move everything down one, and M2 gets sold. The oldest chief car then becomes M2, and everything kind of retires that way.
Yeah. Last month you said if you didn't sell it, you'll use it for a squad. And we have M2, that's for medical. To me, it's a waste of money if we're not gonna sell the old chief's car to recoup some of the money that we're paying for a new chief's vehicle.
Well, we would sell the oldest vehicle, right? The oldest vehicle in the fleet.
So, either way. So,
Yeah, the oldest, small vehicle.
Yeah, the oldest SUV vehicle.
Or the oldest vehicle squad too.
Anything else from the floor here? Okay, so we'll sign vouchers, then we'll go to executive session. Well, somebody could make the motion to move to executive session, and then when we're ready, then we will do that. Wait.
Yeah.
Thank you. How do you want to move?
Sorry, Kid.
Do you want to wait to make the motion for executive session, or do you want to make the motion?
If we make the motion now, we go immediately into it, or we sign vouchers? So we got a little time to kill between,
Are you able to do a recess? Or can you close it and then
No,
have,
you have to keep the meeting open.
so you want to just adjourn for 25 minutes, and we'll sit out here and sign vouchers, and then go into exec session at 8:30?
I don't know, we've never done that. But I know you can't adjourn because you have to be in an open meeting to go into an executive session. But I don't see why you couldn't take a break.
Okay, we'll take a break and sign vouchers and move into executive session when we're ready.
so we'll stay open with no business?
Yeah.